push, pray until something happens. There was a time when I was diagnosed with a life-threatening illness, and then there was a time when Philip was, and then there was a time when I was betrayed by a very close friend. And then there was a time a number of years ago when I felt so guilty about a choice I'd made in college. And then there was a time when I just had more bills than money. And then there was a time when I was confused about my future. And then there was a time when I was just feeling overwhelmed with what God had entrusted me with. And in each of these situations, from the most painful to the annoying to the good, initially, my only response was and is to push, pray until something happens. God is able. That is the conviction we need. Our God is able. Your God is able. Able to do what? Whatever needs to be done in this world and in your life. No problem can stop him. No circumstance can worry him. No outcome confuses him. I know the circumstances that sometimes we find ourselves in, that there are prayers that haven't gotten answered the way we want them to, and that can make us doubt this or question this. But then I remember that Paul wrote this while he was in prison, in chains, suffering, persecuted by Rome, waiting to die. See, it was this conviction that Paul had, that God is able, the same conviction whether he was in jail or in a palace. My God is able, no matter what I'm facing. He's able to do not just what we ask, but what we imagine. What we imagine. And then he's bigger than that. He's able to do more than we imagine. And not just a little bit more, but exceedingly abundantly more. God is able to do immeasurably more than we could ask or imagine. There is nothing that is logically possible or consistent with God's character that God can't do. But here's the deal. We won't pray if we don't have that conviction, if we don't believe that God is able. Our God is able. Able to do what? Well, he's able to interact with the laws of nature and suspend them, because he's actually the one who created them. He can part a body of water so that others can cross through on dry land. He can calm a storm simply by saying, "Peace, be still." He is Lord over time, so that when the children of Israel needed an extended day to win a battle, God actually stopped the sun. Our God is able to make a day last as long as he wants. He's able to make the walls of Jericho come down. He was able to take a little boy named David and defeat a giant named Goliath. He was able to make a drought and a flood and a rainbow as a reminder of his promise. And God's power is not limited to the laws of nature. This is reality. Our God is able. Our God is able to bring deliverance from impossible situations. Some of you are facing one right now. Well, he is able to deliver. He delivered Daniel from a lion's den. He was able to deliver 3 young men, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, from a fiery furnace. He was able to deliver Joseph from Pharaoh's prison. He was able to deliver Israel from Egyptian slavery, Queen Esther from genocide, Elijah from Queen Jezebel. Anybody in here need deliverance from a hard situation? Our God is able. He is able. And not only that, he's able to provide. He's able to provide manna for 40 years. He's able to bring water out of a rock. He's able to order birds, ravens, to feed Elijah when he couldn't do it himself. He was able to take 2 fish and some loaves and feed 5,000 plus people and have leftovers. And not only that, our God is able. He is able to change the hearts of men and women. He's able. He's able to soften the hard heart of Pharaoh so that Pharaoh let the people go. He was able to strengthen the frightened heart of a man named Gideon so that he could ultimately lead the people. And he was able to take a genocidal zealot named Saul and turn him into a self-sacrificing missionary named Paul, who wrote more than half of the New Testament and whose theology we all claim today. He is able. He is able. That is our God. That is our God. But not only that, none of his power has diminished. Hebrews 13 says Jesus Christ is the same yesterday, today, and forever. His power has not diminished. He's able to take a woman who has been addicted to drugs for decades and set her free. I have seen that happen. He's able to take a marriage that's full of bitterness and hopelessness and put it back together. I've seen it happen. He's able to take a man who's been disgraced by sin and make him into a new creature. I have seen it happen. He's able to come alongside a family who is devastated by loss and offer hope, reassuring him that death does not get the last word. He's able to replace fear with faith in a human heart. He did it in mine. He is able to heal brokenness. He is able to reconcile relationships. He's able to heal. He's able to provide meaning. He's able to give hope. He's able to raise Jesus from the dead. Now to him who is able to do immeasurably more than we could ask or imagine or think. You know, most of us, we probably believe that there's a God who would do mighty things. But the next step is to believe that he's able to do them for me. See, maybe we think my faith is too weak or whatever. But here's the truth. Our God is able. Our God is big enough to run the universe and small enough to dwell in your heart. Our God is big enough to run the universe and small enough to dwell in your heart. He is able. He is able. So what are we going to do? We're going to pray. When you go to sleep, the God who is able can take all of your worries. When you're awake, the God who's able can help you rejoice in this day. When you drive, the God who is able can help you. When you work, the God who's able can do more than you ask or imagine or think. A while ago, I was in a situation that involved real disappointment. And there was an outcome that was desperately important, but it was out of my control. And I heard someone whose integrity and wisdom I trust, I heard them say, "This will be a test of your joyful confidence in God." And I live with those words every day. This will be a test of your joyful confidence in God. And everybody has a test. So where is your joyful confidence in God being tested? See, and the invitation is, every day, will you commit to praying about whatever is concerning you? Take this stone with you in your ordinary life tomorrow. Whatever you're carrying, our God is able. Whatever you brought in here, our God is able. Whatever is the deepest longing in your heart, I don't know how, I don't know when, but I know that our God is able. What is the one thing that you're believing that God is able to do for you? What is that? Well, pray. Our God is able. Who pray to God in their everyday, ordinary moments. It doesn't have to be the deep, always on your face prayer. You can have those, but it's just the everyday moments. Everyday moments. We make time for a lot of things. Let's make time for prayer. Our God is able. He is able. When you start to doubt what might be coming or happening, our God is able. He is able to deal with that situation. He's able to heal that place in your heart. He's able to heal relationships, restore marriages. He is able. That's who we're praying to, the God who is able. He is everywhere. He is right here, right now. And everything hinges on this. We really can do life with peace and joy and security and wisdom and guidance, or we can do life without God. See, God doesn't inflict himself on anyone. And without him, life can mean insecurity and anxiety and isolation and temptation and fear. See, God's desire is to be in a relationship and to have communion with us, and he communicates it over and over and over in the Bible. One of the names of Jesus is Emmanuel, God with us. He is with you. Are you following him or expecting him to follow you? Our God is with us. See, he's always been about being a part of our everyday life. So how can we make tomorrow, which is an ordinary day, a day that we spend with God? See, being with God doesn't mean that you do things you don't ordinarily do. Mostly it just means doing the things you ordinarily do, but doing them with God. So let's see how we can take an ordinary day and make it Bethel. gateway to heaven, up there, coming down here into our lives. The idea is that tonight, and remember your day starts with tonight, that you say right when you put your little head on the pillow, you say, thank you. Thank you that I am alive this day. And then you just let go. Let go. Let go of the worries. You actually weren't designed to carry the burdens and the worries. And sometimes when we're still, that's actually when the worries start to crowd us, right? But just for tonight, let them go. Proverbs 3 says this, when you lie down, you will not be afraid. When you lie down, your sleep will be sweet. Why? Verse 26, because the Lord will be at your side. Philippians 4:6 says, don't be anxious about anything, but in everything, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Be anxious for. That's when so he's saying when you're laying down, you say, I just can't sleep. Because that's what happens when this state of mind takes over, this anxiety takes over. In the Greek text, when the concerns about life press on us so hard that we are unable to sleep, it's counterproductive and self-centered worry. Because the cares of the world sometimes drive us to do things that we know ultimately aren't good. Unless Christ literally changes your mind. I mean, did you notice the beginning of that verse? It says, do not be anxious about anything. It's an imperative. It's a commandment. It's not optional. He's saying, do this. So does this mean that God's going to fix everything? No. The commandment isn't about fixing things. It's about freeing your mind. The difference between a Christian and a world-bound person is this. A Christian just actually releases the cares of life to God and is free from anxiety, while other people might be giving into the cares and are just bound by fear. See, this commandment is about the freedom that comes when we realize that life is not within our control, but it is within God's. And if God's in control, then what are we worried about? He cares for us. So we're all going to go to bed tonight, and tonight we're just taking this one day at a time, remember? But tonight, and go to sleep in Jesus' name. Let go. So this is all about praying continually. And then the next thing that'll happen is that you'll wake up in the morning. And let's wake up with these words. Psalm 118:24 says, this is the day that the Lord has made. I will rejoice and be glad in it. You know, I'm not talking about the next day when all my circumstances change or work out, but today, this day, this ordinary day, which is not ordinary because you are with me, God, because of Emmanuel. Now we have to fight for that because oftentimes regret over the past and fear of the future will attempt to get in. And so in this moment, ask Jesus to go with you throughout the day. Just before your feet hit the floor, say, Jesus, be with me today. I'm trusting you with this day. That's it. Again, it's about praying continually.